wait to start this until there's some people in here. Hi, Von Eric. How are you? I'm gonna wait a minute to start. This video is gonna be about Etsy because I got asked. Oh, there's a doggy barking. Okay, hang on. Okay, I got asked to Mary, go. Okay, I got asked to do a video about Etsy and kind of my experiences with Etsy. And I'm going to start in a minute. Hi, House of Tortured Souls. Welcome. Hi, Johnson's Edge. Hi. I'm going to wait a minute to get started. Hi, Splendor. Okay, so this is going to be about Etsy, and I'm going to go ahead and start because there's a few of you here. This is just on my experiences. This is by no means everyone's experiences. Depending on what you sell, your experiences will be different. For me, I kind of have like a niche market. You know, I make creepy dolls and not everybody likes those. So, you know, it's kind of hard to say like whether Etsy will work for you or not. And if you're just getting started, you know, there's so much information that you have to sort of know and do to make your shop successful, and it really depends on your products. So with that said, I'm going to be talking about just my experiences. I can't talk about anybody else because you know, there's Etsy sellers who love Etsy. There's Etsy sellers who are really unhappy with Etsy right now, and I'm just going to go from there. So you know, I sell creepy dolls, and I have been selling them for I think this will be the 17th year. And I first joined Etsy probably 10 or 12 years ago, and everything was great. I was selling tons of my dolls on Etsy, and there was a forum back in the old days. I don't know if they still have the forums. I don't even pay attention anymore, like the discussion boards and stuff. And that was a really great resource back then, you know, for promoting your stuff and getting to know other sellers and, you know, sort of getting to know your community. And while I was in those forums, there were several threads that came about where people were basically like calling out creepy doll makers and saying that their products really didn't belong on Etsy because they were so scary or bloody or graphic or whatever the deal was. You know, it was a thread basically talking about all that. And then I don't remember because it's been so long. I can't remember the exact timeline of events, but Etsy ended up changing their rules at one point, and they said you can't have anything that's violent or graphic or bloody or whatever it was. And that meant people like me kind of fell into a weird like black hole, because I mean, some of our stuff people were complaining about and actually reporting as being offensive to this new rule that they had. So this was again like 10 maybe 12 years ago. I don't even know. It was long time ago. Like I said, I've been making these dolls now for almost 17 years. Next month will be 17 years. And so I contacted Etsy and I said, am I safe? Can I list my products here? This is what I have to sell. And after going back and forth with the you know, Etsy administrators or whatever, or corporate people, they came back and said, yeah, you're okay to sell, but if you get reported or somebody finds your stuff offensive, and you know, we have the right to take it down, and you won't be able to relist it, and your shop could be closed. And I did have that email saved for a long time, and I would send it to people if they asked. I don't even know if I have it anymore, but anyway, so that really made me nervous, and I didn't like the stance that Etsy was taking. And I know that anytime you list something on Etsy, you do have the risk of getting your shop shut down if people report you, or you're selling things that aren't allowed, or whatever it is. So I get that that's a risk always. But when they're telling you, yes, you can list your products, but if people in the future have a problem with it, you might not be safe, I felt really uncomfortable. But that thread ended up getting more and more specific towards like my nun dolls and stuff. And they were saying, you know, people in the Etsy forums were saying that my nuns were violence against Catholic people. So I started getting a lot of my listings reported. And at that point in time, I decided that it was no longer worth it for me to sell on Etsy. So I went for years, maybe like 5 or 6 years without using Etsy at all anymore. I just sold on eBay, I sold on my websites, you know, I did all that. And it wasn't until a couple years ago that I decided to come back to Etsy because things had changed a lot, and I was looking for another platform to sell my stuff. And, you know, it is a great platform for selling because it gives you traffic that you may not have had otherwise, you know, and especially when you have a niche market, your stuff can be seen by people that may not know about it otherwise. So with that said, I you know, could only talk about my experiences. So when I went into Etsy the second time, I was going with caution. I was afraid that my stuff would get reported or, you know, my shop would be shut down. That didn't happen, you know, so I was able to build sales and all of that and get seen by people, you know, and build like a following, because when people like your things or they follow your shop, you know, you kind of build a following. So everything was pretty okay until, I guess it was last probably October or November. Actually change that. It started a few months prior to that. Hi everybody who's just joining. I am talking about Etsy and my experiences with Etsy, and I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for anybody else, but I was asked specifically to do a video about Etsy. So that's all I'm going to talk about. Anyways, actually it was like probably June of last year, they sent out an email to sellers saying that they were going to be switching everybody to a new selling platform. And it was like an upgraded selling platform or something for sellers. And I can't remember what the email said. I think it said it was going to be rolling people out like in stages or something. And so for months, nothing happened to my shop. I forgot about it, honestly. So I think it was at the end of, or November 1st is what it was. I got an email stating that your bill for your November Etsy shop is whatever, and it's due on November 15th. And that's the way that Etsy billing used to work, is they would give you an invoice on the 1st, and by the 15th you had to pay your bill. When they, I don't know how to explain it, but like basically in the olden days before they switched me, you know, I had 15 days to pay what I owed them. And sometimes I owed them very little depending on how much I sold. Sometimes I owed them more if I used the shipping label thing or whatever. You know, it just really fluctuated, and it depends on how much you sell too, because your final fees and all that get tacked on there. So, you know, it gave me a chance to budget in that bill into my, you know, my expenses and everything, and it worked out and it was fine. I was okay with it. So, going forward, November 1st, I get this email. November 2nd, the day after I get this email stating that my bill is due on the 15th of November, November 2nd, they changed me over to the new platform with no warning at all, except for that email back in like June, okay, that I had totally forgotten about. So they switched me to the new platform, and I don't know if any of you guys sell on Etsy and if you've been switched to the new one yet, or if you're still on the old one. I don't know if they switched everybody at this point, but when I switched, my bill, which was not a little bit, not like $20 or anything, it was actually a lot more than that. And when they switched me, they basically took any money I had coming in until that amount was paid off. So anything I sold for like over a week, I think it was, because, you know, I don't sell like every single day. Sometimes there's days I don't sell stuff, you know, and everything I sold for like a week was going towards this Etsy bill that wasn't even due yet. I mean, it was technically due on the 15th. So I started emailing the corporate office, and they were very, very, I'm not gonna say rude. It wasn't that they were being rude to me. It was just that they didn't care. They didn't care about how it was affecting me or affecting anybody else. And I know at that point in time, there was a lot of sellers that I follow on Facebook and Instagram and stuff that were complaining about the same things happening, that they were expecting their bill to be due on the 15th, and all of a sudden Etsy is taking all this money from them. So what ended up happening is basically, like, when you sell something on Etsy right now, let's say your balance is $0 and you list something, so then you've got the 20 cents and you're negative 20 cents to Etsy. Okay, and then let's say you sell something and they add, say, $2 or $3 on for their closing fees or whatever, and then you print a label and the label costs $13 or something. So all of a sudden you're negative, you know, to Etsy for like, say, $15, right? So the next time you sell something, let's say you sell something for $100, you're only going to get like 85 deposited, right? But ever since they changed the format, they claim that the deposits have not changed at all. And I've got emails where we were going back and forth about the deposits. They claim that they haven't changed, but ever since they did this change, my deposits do not come in when they are supposed to. Like if I'm supposed to get a deposit for something I sell, like, say it's supposed to come in Thursday, it sometimes doesn't show up until Monday or Tuesday. And so when you're an artist and this is like kind of your main source of income, I do have another, part-time job and stuff, but this is like what I do. And to have your deposits kind of messed up like that is messed up. But the kicker to it, and the reason why I can't stand Etsy right now, is because let's say I sell something and I was negative $15, and then I'm thinking I'm getting an $85 deposit, and it says it's going to deposit, say on like Thursday or something. It would sit in my account and not get deposited, and then anything I sold, say over the weekend, would get deducted from that, and then all of a sudden that $85 that I thought I was getting to pay a bill or whatever, that is no longer there. I don't have that coming in. So instead of allowing us to pay the bill when we could, on the 15th, it is now just automatically taken from us. And this is really, 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 really impacting and pissing off a lot of people, because we really work hard to list our stuff. We really work hard to create our things and our products, and our things are not selling as quickly now because of this new platform. It is not only the money part, it's not only the deposits and all that, because like I said, I'm not getting them on a regular schedule. I don't know if anybody else is having this issue, but like it's happening to me every single week. It has really made it unpredictable and hard to keep track of in a way, because you're thinking, okay, I got this coming, and then you look at your thing and you're like, oh, wait a minute, why am I missing this? And it's frustrating. But putting that aside, the other thing that really bothers me about the new platform is, hang on, let me say hi to everybody that just joined. Hi, everybody that just joined. This is a video about Etsy, and I'm going to try to save it because I lost the 3 that I did about dolls earlier. I don't know how to do this. My sister had to help walk me through it earlier today. I still don't know how to save things. But, okay, going back to Etsy. So, lost my train of thought. Okay, so the thing that's really bothersome about the new format and everything was that around the holidays, I think it was just like the end of November or something, they sent out these messages saying that in order to be seen on Etsy, you need to offer free shipping. And let me just talk a little bit about shipping here. I don't control how much shipping is. I don't make the rates, the post office does. So when somebody comes at me and says that's too much for shipping, I'm sorry, I don't control it. It is the post office. With the cost of gas going up the way it is and all these things, the post office rates are going up. And that's just the way of the world and the economy, and we can't change that. I mean, none of us sellers want to charge $7 to ship something that small. But if you want priority and all that, that's what you got to do, So Etsy is now telling us, okay, you've got to offer this free shipping. So for domestic, US packages, because I'm in the US, that's not that big of a thing. I mean, it sucks if you're spending $16 to $20 per package, but overall, it's whatever. But then they want you to offer free shipping to everybody. So free shipping internationally, let me just tell you, one doll could cost me up to like $50 sometimes, depending on the weight of the doll. So now all of a sudden I've got a doll listed for $90 and it's a heavy one, say, and it costs $50 for me to ship it to England or something, and all of a sudden I didn't make any money on that doll. I didn't even cover my expenses or whatever, and that's not right. And Etsy was saying, if you're not offering this free shipping, you're going to show up lower in the searches, or you're not going to show up or whatever. So me and a whole bunch of other sellers went through each listing, edited them, did what we had to do to offer this free shipping, thinking that our sales would be boosted through the holidays, right? Because we're offering this free shipping. It didn't happen for me. I was watching like a hawk my statistic things or whatever, analytics. My hits were still coming from things that I was doing to advertise. My Facebook, my Instagram, that's where the source of the traffic was coming from. It did not change within Etsy, and if anything, I feel like it got worse. So I'm going through the whole holidays thinking, okay, I've got this free shipping thing going, and a lot of sellers were feeling this way. We were all doing it. But after the holidays, and I'm crunching numbers and I'm not seeing a difference, it's like I'm losing so much money, plus I'm not getting my deposits. How the hell am I supposed to do this, And so that's why for me, that's one of my biggest things. And let me just say hi to everybody. Yeah, shipping is high for everyone, Johnson's. It is not something that I control or that any of us sellers control. We don't like this. We don't like that if we ship a package overseas, then you guys get charged a customs fee and stuff. That's not on us. We don't do this. This is not our doing, you know, and people get really frustrated with it, you know. But anyways, the other thing that really bothers me about the way that Etsy is handling things is that I did talk about this in the video that I lost earlier, but I'm going to touch on it again. The people will open up shops and they will take items from other artists, like images, like my doll images, and they will print them onto things and they will sell them and not get permission from me. That's my photo and it's my artwork. You don't have the rights to use it to make products and sell them. Sorry. Anyways, so when you contact Etsy about it, they don't do anything. They don't care. And it's up to you really to try to get this shop to stop and remove your products. And unfortunately, that gets really ugly. It gets really ugly, really nasty. And, you know, a lot of people just don't understand that you can't go online and take other people's stuff. I don't make things so that other people can earn money off of what I do, you know, and that's really frustrating. And Etsy's whole stance and all the emails that I've gotten regarding all the shops that I've tried to turn in for stealing my images, it's very disappointing the way they handle it. And I gotta say, when I was doing eBay before, eBay was so much better about it. You know, if you could just prove that it was something you created, that item was gone instantly. And there was a time on Etsy, like I touched on before, that I had 2 sellers just selling tons of stuff with my images on it, and they weren't doing anything about it. And it was like, it's not just upsetting, it's not just you know, frustrating, it's also like it crushes you in a way, because you feel violated sort of when people are taking your stuff and making money off of it. And yes, you can legally go after them, absolutely, but it's a pain in the ass, especially if people are in other states or other countries. And you know, it's really frustrating. And you know, I still sell on Etsy, and actually ChristyCreepyDolls.com is actually hosted through Etsy. It was just easier for me to list something on Etsy and then have it automatically go to my site. So I have the I think it's called Pattern or something. So they do my URL for ChristyCreepyDolls.com. So technically, when you buy something from ChristyCreepyDolls.com, it all goes into my Etsy selling account. It's all linked. So what I've been doing lately is just invoicing people through PayPal, which is what I used to do for years, and it was so much easier. And that's where I'm at again. I just prefer it. It's so much easier. It takes out the hassle of, you know, dealing with all the bullshit and all the not getting your money and, you know, all that stuff. And I know it's frustrating because there's so many artists out there that are just getting started and they want to sell their stuff, and you know, they really want to sell on Etsy and stuff, and I'm all for that. Go do what you gotta do and figure out if it works for you. But for me at this point, like, I am exploring other options. I know other artists are exploring other options. I know other artists sell on multiple platforms. You know, for instance, you know, like Mystic Crypt carries my dolls. Mystic Crypt. Sorry, I'm choking. MysticCrypt.com. They sell my dolls, and she's got over, I forgot how much it is. I think maybe like 115 of my dolls in stock. It might be a little bit more, a little bit less. And she carries my work, and she is on, let's see, Amazon. She actually got my dolls on Walmart.com. If you go to Walmart.com and you type in Christy Creepy Dolls or Creepy Dolls or something, a whole bunch of my dolls come up, like 100 of them. I'm not a big fan of Walmart, but you know, it's still cool that they're there. Yeah, she's got them on multiple platforms. She's got them over on eBay and everything, and that's really, I think, the way that you know, everybody sort of sells the best, is when they've got multiple platforms and stuff. But then that is difficult for people who are just starting out, and I personally don't like to have the dolls on eBay. Really, I have a few up there right now, but they're not really selling. And eBay was where I had a problem before, where you know, a person said that they did not get the item, they did not sign for the you know, UK surcharge or whatever it was, and the item ended up coming back, and they filed a complaint against me. They ended up getting, you know, like $200 back or whatever, and I never got the box back. So I was out $200, and I was out the package, and eBay ruled in their favor. So after that, I was kind of just like, it's kind of difficult to sell on there too. They have a lot of restrictions for things, so when you're selling, you always have to check and make sure that what you're selling is okay. There was a couple times I had dolls removed because I had, I think it was rusty keys or something, because the rust was real rust or something. So it's just when you're dealing with sites like that, you really have to follow their rules and everything. And I'm not trying to sound discouraging or anything, and I'm, everybody, again, like I said, is learns on their own. But for me, I just do better, like, selling through Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, because I have such a small, like, niche market. If you have something that appeals to all the masses, you'd probably do great on Etsy, and you'd probably do great on eBay and all that. But yeah, it's difficult, like, there's something else I was gonna say about Etsy. One thing that is positive about Etsy that I want to say is that, you can print shipping labels from Etsy, which helps people, especially when they're just getting started. I always say to get a scale so that you can weigh your packages at home and you don't have to do it at the post office. And you can get one, like, I think I got mine on Amazon 100 years ago for $20 or something, and it goes up to 40 pounds. So that's something that, you should definitely invest in. The ones at the post office are pricey, and they only go up to 10 pounds, I think. And sometimes that's just not enough for a big box. So, I would say have those tools at your house so you don't have to rely on the post office all the time. But, it is a lot easier to print your labels directly through Etsy. And I do commend them for that, because they do also give you a discount, I believe, from what the post office charges you. So that is a bonus. Another bonus that I feel with Etsy is that, people can leave you feedback instead of, like, you selling directly to people. They can leave you feedback, and that stays on your record so that other people can see that your work is good, or whatever the deal is. They can see the feedback, just like on eBay where you can see feedback about sellers. So that is definitely positive. I don't know what this little question thing is, but it's lit up. Oh, okay. So yeah, I was having people ask questions earlier on my story. My sister's helping me do all this Instagram stuff. I think that's it about Etsy. But in a few minutes, I'm going to do one more video about dolls, because I deleted the 3. And hopefully this doesn't get deleted, because I do want it to stay up. But I'm going to do one more video, and then that's it for today. But if you have some topics that you want me to talk about, not just about dolls or Etsy or anything, but if you want me to do videos, and I'm going to be doing these more often. I do miss my YouTube channel. So anyways, I am going to go now. And in a few minutes, I'm going to do one about dolls. So thank you for joining, and I will talk to you guys in a few minutes about dolls.